Welcome back, everyone, to another double feature where we look at two films of equal importance and weight and discuss them. This time around, we're doing a Christmas bonus, two films that came out on Christmas time. I have not seen the Bob Dylan movie yet. The Brutalist is not playing in theaters near me. I'd love to watch both of them, but I saw two other movies that came out. I saw Nosferatu, and I saw Babygirl. And we're going to talk about both of them right now. Starting with Nosferatu, because it's the one I saw first. This is the huge, highly anticipated love letter, passion project that Robert Eggers has been working on for a long time. This has kind of been his baby, the thing that he's wanted to make forever. You know, he talked about it for a long time. If you watch any of his other films, you see clear inspiration from the original silent film of the 20s. This is his baby. This is the thing he's wanted to make forever. Makes a lot of sense to me. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's incredibly well done. A beautiful, well-crafted piece of art that holds up well and is worth studying. Truly. Is it as good as the 1922 film? Up for debate. It's one that I think a modern audience could easily watch more of because some people struggle watching silent films. I get that. You know, if we had more auteur directors take silent films and make this the piece that comes out based on that silent film, I think a lot of other people would go back and watch silent films. That being said, perhaps my biggest critique of this movie is how little it changes its narrative. It is telling the story of Nosferatu. That's the story he wanted to tell, you know? There are more stylistic changes than there are tonal changes, and as much as I love that original piece, I don't think the story 100% works. So when we just take those story beats and just add more to it, well, you're still building on a foundation that doesn't perfectly solidify for me. I can't criticize this movie, though, for making itself Nosferatu, because this was a movie that's built to be Nosferatu. It wanted to be Nosferatu. It got to be Nosferatu. Set design, immaculate. Cinematography, immaculate. A really good script. How do you adapt to silent film? I know this is not the first time Nosferatu's been adapted, but how do you adapt it? Pretty good. Like, I think the vocals and the writing and the dialogue, it's all in that classic tongue, so that works. Every actor in this feels like they exist in that era. I love when that happens. Sometimes we get people who just feel like they're in cosplay. Perhaps the greatest thing about this film is how little it feels like cosplay. It feels like everyone was aware, this is intense, let's make it happen. Because you have a lot of character actors and not like the biggest names out there, so you can have people who are willing to play a performance. And that really helps a movie like this. Set design, great. Costuming, great. Lighting, great. It almost wants to be black and white. I wonder if there is a cut that would look really good in black and white. But the way we use shadow, it is very evocative of the classic film, which is kind of all you need for a movie like this, is the evocative nature of that original piece. And that is what this is. So I'm for that. I dig it. I like it. It makes me happy. That all works wonders for me. Is it as gothic and creepy as the original? Yeah, I think so. Now, when we talk about these like remakes and reboots and stuff, I always hate comparing it to the original, but I'm going to do that in this case because this is clearly the base text for what this new film is. It's not trying to be anything different. This movie is not trying to stand apart from that movie. It's trying to be a modern retelling. You know, it's kind of like how different productions of Shakespeare just tell the same story, but you take something different out of it and you like maybe hone in on a specific thing. What this movie hones in on is Lily Rose Depp. Like, she is the central figure. That is a character who wasn't really fleshed out in the original source material, aside from like, you know, the character and like the actual story of Dracula and whatever. But in the Nosferatu material, that character doesn't get the best love. Well, what if we made that the driving point of this film? how she interacts with the world, how she feels guilty from the world, how the world makes her feel, and her connection to this, count that is manipulating her life and what that all means. It is very modern in that setting, just like letting the female character not only have agency, but be the driving force to the climactic ending, which is incredible. And Lily Rose Depp, I don't know you in much else. Freaking awesome, babe. Incredible performance. Truly brilliant stuff from her. And that's the other thing about this movie. There isn't a bad performance in the bunch. Everyone is fully aware of the bit they're playing. Do you remember when they announced this and Harry Styles was originally supposed to be the Nicholas Hoult character? I can't imagine anybody but Nicholas Hoult being this guy. It's fantastic. He's so good in that role. And Aaron Taylor-Johnson, everyone just forgot you were in Craven, dude. You were so good in here. And Ralph Ineson. Ralph Ineson is in this movie. I love when Ralph Ineson shows up. He just has so much wonder to him. And I love it. He just looks like he belongs in the 1800s as a doctor. And of course, Emma Corrin, fantastic. Gets less to do than you'd expect, but more than you would be thinking if you've seen the material it's based on. And Willem Dafoe, just shows up and knows how to command a screen. That's Willem Dafoe. He gets a lot of crazy lines to say. He is truly magnificent in this role. It's breathtaking to see. But perhaps the most transformative performance of his entire career that is almost built on transformative performances comes from Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok. What did you do? That was all done in person. That voice is his voice. I can't even register how that is possible. How do you get that grovelly, maintain the same composure throughout everything, and not kill yourself? I know he probably permanently damaged his voice. It's truly remarkable that he was able to pull that off. I cannot believe it. If you don't know it's him, there is no telling sign that that's him. You would never guess who that is. The design itself is so specific as well, and we just frame it so perfectly. We never dwell on it for too long. That's why Eggers knows what he's doing. This was his baby. He's like, yeah, I know how you do this. We saw the original one so much. We see Count Orlok a lot, but we don't have the use of the shadows that we do. So let's make this scary and gothic and trippy and work in a way that just feels so modern while sticking true to the classic that's 100 years old. It's kind of amazing. It is a miracle. It does get lost in itself sometimes, and I happen to see this with two people who are not familiar with the material, so the way that it goes down and how the story progresses did surprise them. But I'm like, oh, I literally just watched Nosferatu. I've also seen the Werner Herzog one. I'm pretty much aware where we're going here. Not that that's a bad thing. I think more directors should just take a material they like and adapt it. Make your own one. This is pretty much Robert Eggers doing what Steven Spielberg did with West Side Story. You are taking the thing you liked and making your interpretation of it. And I cannot be mad at that. It looks good. It's well created. You won me over, and I think you won audiences over too. Nosferatu is a success. I think it's going to do incredibly well. A movie people are going to be talking about. It's not going to shy away. It's not going to get lost in the translation. People are going to talk about this one. Now, if I had to do a quick ranking of where I put it on my list of Robert Eggers films, I think my list goes The Northman, The Lighthouse, Nosferatu, The Witch. I'm not a fan of The Witch, but whatever. The Northman's awesome. I don't know if he's ever going to top The Northman in my books, but this is a great film. So, Nosferatu, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now let's go somewhere completely different than what we did. We're not going to go into the past. We're going to live in the present day. Babygirl, a new film from Helena Range. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. I don't know too much about her work. This is kind of just the first time her name came up in my registry. So I'm like, I got to see what's going on here. So this one was on my radar mainly because Nicole Kidman won the award at the Venice Film Festival. And I always wanted to see it. I love an erotic thriller. We don't get them as much as we used to. But they're fun. And they're always exciting, no matter the story you tell. I like a pretty lady having a breakdown sexually. I think it's enjoyable. And Nicole Kidman is just fantastic. Like, she has never put in a bad performance of late. She is picking her projects super well, and this is no exception. Babygirl's the story of, like, this high-end business lady, the CEO who's making, like, revolutionary fields in the world of robotics and artificial intelligence. You're like, okay. She's married to Antonio Banderas, the sexiest man alive, but he cannot make her orgasm, and it's stressing her out. And then a young intern at her work, played by Harris Dickinson, shows up, and they start a very intense, aggressive, abusive relationship that is just playing with each other's minds and ruining each other's ideas of themselves and the world around them. It is just an escalating series of horniness ruining your life. And yes, I have missed this. When was the last time this has happened? You know, like where a big one of these movies was put in cinemas with a wide release. I can't remember. It's not going for like, you know, a romantic comedy feel. When was the last time an erotic thriller of this caliber got made on this level? Was a big movie you could go see with your family on Christmas? It's been a while. It has been a while. And it's so cool that it happened. Oh man. I really dig that. This movie's really good. I really like Babygirl. So much my vibe. It is just a really good script, really good performances, just taking apart what it means to be happy and how you make yourself happy and the roles we build around ourselves and the relationships we have with people, and how if you just deconstruct that, if you ever truly know yourself or who you want to be or what your passion is sexually. This is a fetish movie. There's going to be fetish stuff presented on screen. That's not going to be for everybody. Some people are not going to respond to that, but I do. I like when we see actors committing to something sexy that isn't conventionally sexy stuff on screen. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it for people, but man, does it get erotic and passionate and just furious really quick. There are so many good needle drops in this thing too. I love it. Just like a good use of George Michael songs. I think that's incredible. I'm obsessed. I've really just responded to everything this movie was saying. Nicole Kidman, in a series of great roles from her entire career, maybe delivers one of the strongest things she's ever done. That is such a hard thing to say because she's so good. It's Nicole Kidman, for Christ's sakes, right? Like, she's so good in everything. But here, what she does is play frustrated. And a very specific type of frustrated. Somebody who is not sure how to handle themselves. Not sure how to behave. It works really well. She does so many just small ticks and security things where like she's just darting her eyes around. She's blinking too much. Just the way she presents like her stance. It is somebody so lost in themselves. Amazing. It is amazing what she does. What she's willing to do. So between this performance and Demi Moore in The Substance, I've been thinking about like the older era of actresses and how kind of the lost art form of the erotic thriller has gone. I think it's kind of because the modern crop of actresses were never given a chance to do that. So the performances that you like stick out about like the classically beautiful women who are now in their 50s and 60s, like the two actresses I mentioned, those stories get made today too of these actresses because they were making those kind of movies when they were like the age of like the current crop of stars. And that's why I think the erotic thriller works so well when you have like an older performance, because there's just so much of like, yeah, I know how this used to be. Like if this role was given to one of like who's like a current Nicole Kidman type, Saoirse Ronan, it just doesn't work as well because Saoirse Ronan does not have that gravitas, does not have that baggage with her. It's really cool. I like that these movies can be made where these older actresses are like, yep, I will touch myself on screen in a way you have never seen before. I am a lost horny woman. I appreciate it so much. And Harris Dickinson, very much kind of doing the like Drew Starkey role, which we talked about a couple weeks ago in Queer. What if like sex appeal like showed up on screen and it was just like, hey, I think you're attractive. Shall we play a really fucked up game? And they do. And I'm here for it. I like a really fucked up game. I think it's fun. I think it's cute. It works for me. It works for me. And look, the sex stuff looks great. The dialogue is great. I like the way this whole thing looks. I like the way the colors pop. Somehow it's a Christmas movie. It doesn't really need to be one, but it is a Christmas movie. So if you want to watch this at Christmas time, I would watch it again at Christmas time. Very strong outing from everybody involved. Just the type of film we don't make anymore. We don't see this film be made. If this came out 1996, it'd make $200 million. It would. That's the thing. Like, we just don't let this movie play in cinemas anymore to like grow an audience and become something people like. But it's so strong. And it's so fascinating. And it's just a really good dissection of somebody so unsure of their own sexual desires that they lose themselves to the idea of a sexual desire. And then what if that person like ran like a huge company and like was trying to girl boss, you know? Literally, it's like there's like an element of just like, you're a female CEO, act like a proper person. You're debasing yourself for these men. I'm like, yes, that is what is happening. It's incredible. I really, really responded to Babygirl. I am so glad I saw this one. It just made me smile and giddy. It reminded me of a time when these movies just were prominent and all over the place. It's good. It's good. And it's very modern in terms of like the dynamic in the relationships too. I dig it. This one works really well. So, Babygirl, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this double feature. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.